else. I wish I was like you. Anyway, let's get into this game. In the top right spawn position here on the beautiful Protoss themed Star Station, it is the FX Open player hailing from Denmark. Of course, now sitting in the other hall, it is FX Open's BabyKinght. And in the bottom left spawn position, we've got his challenger playing for Team Liquid, tying the series up 2-2 in the last game with an amazing 2-base Swarm host play. Is going to be going Swarm host again? We'll have to see. It is Liquid's TLO.
Now, the one thing I'd like to say is these two are both playing really well. I think TLO is just objectively a bit better at the moment in this series. He just, especially in some of the earlier games, he was really doing everything right, but then he kind of threw game one. It should have been going better for him, and he took the double expansion, couldn't hold it, didn't transition into the power units late game such as Ultras or Broodlords or something like that, and that's where he lost it. But Star Station, arguably even in forced cross spawns, taking a third can be a little bit difficult.
It can be. We're gonna have to see how things are gonna be working out. Of course, it is that big map. It is a difficult third to take. Where are you gonna take that third? How are you gonna take it? It is forced cross spawn positions. Luckily, we're not gonna get into those awkward positions where they spawn in horizontal or vertical positions. I still think we should have entombed forced cross too, because that makes for a little bit of better games. Maybe something to do for the next ICE series. So far, though, BabyKnight is opening with the gateway again, and I'm fully expecting him to be going for the exact same build again.
Yeah, he likes this. We've spoken about it in the series. We don't want to do it to death, but it's a good opening. You can put pressure on, and you can expand behind it. So, yep, it's all fine. TLO, what would you go for on this map if you were in TLO's position?
Well, he's going for a hatch first again. That's definitely worth noting. But he knows BabyKnight prefers his opener with the gateway. And of course, gateway openers are a lot more difficult to punish a hatchery first, especially on a big map like this. It's pretty much impossible to really punish a hatch first with, you know, a normal timed gateway. It's actually impossible. So really good job there by TLO. Going to be grabbing himself a little advantage. The hatchery first going to be granting him a small economic advantage over the regular 14 or 15 pool opener.
Yeah, it's a bit more economic, as you say. We've also got, for example, the fact that neither of these players want to take too much of a risk. That's the problem, because if you do something too risky and you lose to it in a tournament where there's £10,000 of prizes on the line, you're going to be kicking yourself, without a doubt.
Definitely. Okay, let's see what this Zealot is going to be able to achieve. It's on attack move. It is not joking around. It wants to kill some Zerglings, maybe even kill those queens again. TLO opening what I'm expecting to be the same way, the style where he plays with 4 queens. He was able to use those queens so well in the mid-game battles where he was assaulting the base of BabyKnight. He had those queens there for the transfusions. He was able to transfuse spine crawlers that could be consumed by the Vipers. He could transfuse his Vipers. He could transfuse the queens to be able to deal with the Void Rays and the Oracles that were present. Those queens are useful in so many ways. Hopefully TLO will be able to keep all his 4 queens alive, because we have seen him lose a lot of queens to the Zealot Mothership Core harassment that BabyKnight is going to be launching once more.
Indeed, you are completely correct, Lurlian. The other thing that is really important for TLO is you just send the Overlord in, scout it out the Nexus is down, so knows this isn't some kind of all-in, which is really important for him. It will stop him overreacting to the aggression, but he should be fairly aware of what's coming, because basically BabyKnight's done this in a lot of the games and is well known for doing it.
There's the 3rd queen. That's exactly what he needed. The Mothership Core is going to go in the main base, but there is another queen there. Has to be so careful. TLO should be attacking the Mothership Core with his queen, but looks like BabyKnight just realizes in time. He has to get the hell out of there, because this is not going well for him. TLO really dealing with that well, not losing much of anything. Actually, he lost nothing. 2 Zealots killed for absolutely no damage done in return.
No damage done in return. That is not the sort of opening that you really want as BabyKnight. But what he did do is he forced quite a few lings, so I guess that means that TLO's drone count is slightly lower than it would have been otherwise if there was no aggression. But likewise, BabyKnight committed a bit less economically by going for this aggression, so he's slightly lower on the probe count than he would have been at this spot. But currently chrono boosting both Nexus in order to just wrap that up. TLO needs to look to take a third at some time in the future, unless he's going to go for another 2-base play, which he has been successful with so far in this series.
Well, if he's going to do that again, we're going to see the Infestation Pit in a second. He dropped the Infestation Pit while the Roach Warren was about halfway to 75% done. Is he going to do it? He is on 3 gases. He could definitely go for it.
3 gases identical to what he did in game 1, I believe.
That's true. Could be a Roachling all-in.
Could be Roachling all-in. The Roach one just finishing up. Metabolic Boost is also well on its way. There should be 10 Roaches following up very shortly, but the difference here is the 3rd hatch has come down.
Yeah, so maybe he's trying to fake the aggression that he's done in game 1, where he was able to win straight off the bat. BabyKnight. Oh, he cancels the hatch. It was
That,
just
I was
fake.
just about to say, I thought it'd be a mind game because the Mothership core was there. So now, as far as BabyKnight's aware, the TLO, he's going for an expansion. He's just going straight up, going to go for a macro game. But behind this, 8 roaches are just popping out. Speed for Lings is about 20 seconds away, and therefore this is going to be a problem. But the hallucinated Phoenix is going to come in. It sees that the hatch was cancelled, and BabyKnight is now going to know exactly what's coming up. He needs to build some more cannons.
He needs to go back. What are those sentries doing in the middle of the map? BabyKnight, what the hell are you doing? Those sentries need to run back ASAP. No. What is he doing? Those sentries.
The Lings have gone into the main base as well, and this is just a bit of a problem. Suddenly BabyKnight is going to be losing probes. The Lings in there are going to be very problematic, and you can't base trade with sentries. It just doesn't work.
What the hell is happening in this game? The roaches and the sentries just pass each other in the middle of the map. Now BabyKnight realizes, but it is way too late. Here come a lot of Zerglings and a roach. Are they going to be able to deal with these sentries here?
Well, he's going to try and force field. He's going to force field, because if anything can save him, it's force fields in his mind. And unfortunately, it's not looking good for BabyKnight now. TLO, he has got a lot of roaches out of the wall off. He's knocking out the cannons. Some force fields are going to go down. There are a lot of gateways. One gate, not a warp gate. Now just morphing. That's the sort of mistake you don't want in this high-pressure situation. And all in all, it looks like, has BabyKnight actually managed to hold this?
Yes, he has. He recalled at the perfect time there. Got most of his sentries out, had enough defenses, good warp in by BabyKnight. He does have a lot of gateways to be working with. He kind of blind countered what TLO was doing. He has 7 gateways, that's exactly what he needs. And TLO needs to realize that they were both going for an all-in. He can transition out of this, and that's exactly what he's doing. Dropping down the infestation bit, getting upgrades, and probably going to expand to a 3rd soon, because they were both going for an all-in, and that can make for really awkward games, as we've just seen.
Well, the thing is, BabyKnight, he's in an ace position. I do believe that he has 7 warp gates out. That is so much potential units. On a 2 base v2 we've seen in this game. Basically, we had a lot of aggression coming in from both players. There was an all-in from TLO on 2 bases, followed up, actually, by the lovely Mr. BabyKnight going into 6 gates, if I'm not mistaken. No, 7 gates. I was right the first time. So there's a lot of units out on the field. They're really pushing both sides, and basically TLO has got to secure this 3rd base. If he doesn't secure the 3rd, he is in a massive amount of problems.
Yeah, we see a scouting Phoenix, and hallucinated Phoenix is going to be seeing everything there is to see. Saw the 3rd base morphing in, has seen the tech that TLO is on, and looks like BabyKnight's actually not going to go counterattack. He defended really well against that. He recalled back from the middle of the map with all his sentries, and he was able to get back home in time and defend against the all-in that Liquid TLO was throwing at him. But at the same time, BabyKnight was also all-inning. BabyKnight might now be overextending. There's a lot of roaches here for TLO, but not as many supporting Zerglings. And of course, Zergling is going to be really powerful against this pure Stalker sentry setup.
It is. There's not many units here. The force fields do go down. They manage to save things just about, buying a bit of time. And BabyKnight needs to be so careful. Using Hallucinated Phoenix, smart move. Wants to get a good read on how much army's there. And TLO at 63 army supply to just 34 of BabyKnight.
Yeah, and remember, everything's on the line. The winner of this game will be advancing to the semifinals. It is 2-2, ladies and gentlemen. So much on the line here. Some force fields going down. BabyKnight might have been overextending himself a little bit. Is going to be falling back. Some good force fields there. And some people undervalue that, Maddles. It is very difficult to place defensive force fields well and still get all your sentries out of there, because they have to move back to places.
It's very, very hard indeed. Now, BabyKnight trying to take a 3rd. He wants to be able to expand out of this, because currently he has committed an awful lot to gateway units. And he does have the double robotics facility now producing 2 Colossi at a time. The first 2 are going to be popping shortly. Extended thermal lance also on its way down. And this means that he is taking up. He needs a 3rd base to support that amount of production, though.
Yeah, it definitely does. 2 Colossi coming out at a time, like you said, Maddles, but also on the other side of the map, it's the Swarm hosts again. Remember that last game we saw on Entombed Valley? It was amazing. Those Swarm hosts 2 base versus the 2 base Protoss. It was some insane play by Liquid's TLO. Let's see how he's going to be doing with the Swarm host in this game, because it's not 2 base now, it's 3 base versus 3 base in a second. So not quite the same situation we were in last time.
Now, obviously being on 3 bases against 3 bases, that favors the Protoss player. Worker count currently 64 drones to 51 probes. So a slight economic... It's normal, slight economical advantage there to TLO, but not as much as he wants. He wants to be 70 plus drones, and that's why, as he's getting these Swarm hosts out, hopefully that'll allow him to secure a 4th base.
He's also getting a Spire right now. That's pretty interesting. I would assume that's going to be for either Hive Tech follow-up or for a few Corruptors to deal, and of course the Vipers that we saw in the last games too. He's going to be using those abducts again to get the Colossi in range of the Swarm hosts.
The abducts were absolutely amazing in the last game, so that is what we are really looking for here. Is he going to get that far? Will BabyKnight be able to hold? He's only got those 2 Colossi. Oh, the Swarm hosts, if they get a good bow up here, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, BabyKnight's definitely going to have to retreat here. forces some force fields out. Ooh, has to be careful. All the swarm hosts do stay alive. There is, of course, an observer with that army, which is a must. At least one observer with an army right now. You have to be able to blink aggressively on top of those swarm hosts and be able to take them down, and you need
the blink
a few observers.
Blink isn't done. That's a big problem for BabyKnight, just as you said. You need to be able to do that. But the Colossi that count is getting higher. But there is a lot of Locusts, and look at this. TLO is going to go for the natural.
Oh my god, he's going to be attacking 2 points at once. BabyKnight caught in a very awkward spot. Where does he have to go? Is it left to defend his natural? Is it right to defend his third? Looks like he has managed to do so right now. There's a lot of Colossi out on the field. Double Colossi being pumped out, of course. 4 of them now out on the field. TLO's going to go for it again on the left side, but in come the Locusts.
Yeah, the Locusts are just streaming through. Of course, 3 units, very, very cost effective, but currently the resources lost very equal. And TLO, he's not taking a fourth behind this because he just doesn't have the money to do so yet.
No, he doesn't. He's really going all out with the aggression here. But there's one pylon there. The pylon could be sniped down to cancel the warp in. Doesn't happen though. TLO now.
Oh, look at this.
Spot.
This is such a lovely, basically, pincer movement coming from both sides, but just so many Colossi there. The next wave of Locusts not coming out yet. The Zealot's actually able to take out a lot of these swarm hosts.
Yeah, everything's dying off here for TLO. His roaches got caught in a bit of an awkward spot. He tried to snipe down some Colossi, but he wasn't really able to get many. And yeah, his roaches just weren't able to do the damage. The Locusts still out on the map, but they don't have a lot of support. And supportless swarm hosts are very, very vulnerable. And that's why we're going to see TLO now slowly retreat.
Now, TLO desperately needs a fourth. That third base has been up for a while for BabyKnight. If he can get that up, he can stay ahead economically. As a Zergler, you've got to be 1 base up, really, for the majority of the game. These Locusts just trying to delay BabyKnight. Don't want him moving forward quite yet. Blink, though, is about to complete. And just as you mentioned earlier, Lurlian, Blink is where you're able to start sniping off those swarm hosts very easily, especially if they're undefended.
Yeah, especially if they're undefended like they are right now. But there's so many. I don't even think he can easily blink on top of this. He only has 15 Stalkers in his army composition, but TLO, he's in some trouble, man. Some of his swarm hosts getting caught in the Locusts. There's so many Locusts. No, swarm host, where are you going? Retreat. Retreat, little swarm host. That one is a bit out of position.
Yeah, it is a little bit out of position, but TLO, he's got his fourth on the way. This is what's really, really important. I'm glad to see this. And he is being aggressive. He's got the map dominance. If we take a look at TLO's vision, we can see that he is really pushing across the map. Compare that to BabyKnight. He really has nothing. He's really pinned back at the moment.
That's funny. Actually, we see no Vipers coming out, but it's going to be Corruptors. So different from our last series.
Yeah.
TLO, last game I should say, TLO is going to be playing it different. This time around he is playing with the Corruptors. That is going to enable him to go into Hive Tech if he so desires, but he has not shown any signs of doing that just yet. They're still on Lair Tech, even though we're almost 20 minutes into this game.
Do you know what I love? Do you know what I absolutely love? High Templar were coming out, because remember in the previous game, the Vipers of Ducks were so incredible and really ruined everything. High Templar, feedback, no problem.
Uh-oh, that's a lot of Locusts moving into the third base. Where's the rest of the army for BabyKnight?
Oh, those Colossi getting sniped off. One at the main, and now trying to retreat as best as it can. One already gone down the Mothership Core, also in a very vulnerable position, and will fall.
Mothership Core down, a lot of Colossi down. This could be the cue for TLO to move in, but you cannot really move in quickly with Swarm Hosts. They really do not cater to that kind of play. A lot of Corruptors are here, but still so many Colossi. These Swarm Hosts have to be very, very careful. BabyKnight moving in. It's looking pretty good for our Protoss player, I'd say.
Yeah, there's no Overseer with this army. That means there's no way to snipe off that Observer, which TLO so desperately needs to do. If you got rid of that, there would be no way for BabyKnight to engage that force of Swarm Hosts, because he's only got the one Obs.
Oh, Lord. The Colossi were almost on top of the Swarm Host there. Here come the Corruptors, but there's so many Stalkers. So it's basically a pure Stalker Colossi army right now, which is exactly what BabyKnight needs. Here come a lot of those High Templar. Going to be some Archons morphing in here in just a second. Still no Vipers on the field, so he has no real use for High Templar. There he goes, morphs them into Archons. They are much more useful right now.
The upgrade advantage slightly there for BabyKnight. He is at 2-1 compared to the 2-0 of TLO, but that means the Locusts, they do an awful lot of DPS. They are going to be able to really start eating through stuff. And as these Corruptors start gaining in number, suddenly the Colossi can be engaged. There's no Voidways either. They would be great against those Corruptors, and without them, it just means that the Colossi are slightly exposed. A good blink underneath all of the Corruptors, but TLO, he's starting to go for it, pulls back, and I think that's the right move, but he did get a Colossus.
He got 2 Colossi.
He got 2 Colossi.
Yeah, that was all right there. Lost 2-3 of those Corruptors, but he took out 2 Colossi, so definitely worth it.
Yeah, he's got 7 more in production behind this. He's going nicely, but the Swarm Hosts are getting taken out. Extended Thermal Odds, all of those Stalkers dealing so much damage. TLO, he has got to be so careful here, because those Swarm Hosts, if they do die, he has lost the majority of his army.
Oh my god, his entire army getting demolished here. GG coming out of TLO. He knows there's nothing he can do. The next spawn of Locust was so far away, and BabyKnight knocks the Team Liquid player out of the tournament in the quarterfinals.